Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 16. Yeah, I know, guys, you're thinking, what? You're giving us this now? Well, yeah, uh, well, pretty much again, because of what happened, I think my brain isn't working at 100% capacity, so I wasn't able to fully think about how to properly like do the schedule, but I think I've finally got it figured out. So now I'm gonna be doing My Hero Academia for the rest of the Hero Aka. I'll be doing My Hero Academia anime review and One Piece anime review on Saturday, and then Sunday is gonna be the manga reviews of of My Hero Academia and One Piece. So yeah, I could never figure that. Like I said, I wasn't operating at full capacity. My brain power wasn't operating at full capacity. I didn't know how to work this, especially with the whole change in Shonen Jump schedule, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of what it's gonna boil down to, guys. I'm gonna do the anime reviews for My Hero and One Piece on Saturday, and manga reviews for those same series on Sunday. Yeah. So with that said, let's get to it. So and again, so before I get into the actual review, though, I do want to discuss an interesting tweet I discovered, and those who have visited my Twitter page will know this. Will know what I'm talking about. But supposedly, like the Pro Hero arc might be capping off this season, and while I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen, well, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I am very skeptical about this news. I'm very skeptical about this news. First, just on the fact that supposedly I learned that the source as to where that screen cap on Twitter came from. I'll put a picture up for you guys to see. But where I learned that picture came from what was actually in the opening itself. And just because it's in the reason why I'm skeptical is just because it's in the opening doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. But so, but yeah, even putting that aside, I'm also very skeptical about this news, as the next arc after this very short one we're in isn't necessarily long, but it will take up a few episode slots for sure. So that in itself kind of just opens up the question: are they going to have enough for that? Are they going to have enough for the? Are they gonna have enough even after this like next slightly big arc in order to do the Pro Hero arc? I'm not gonna say it's not impossible, but it it would be I can see a little bit of the difficulty. Um, the only thing that does make me believe this is going to work, but by having the Pro Hero arc like to cap off this season, is on top of the fact that the new ending has teased us with a very key character in that arc, is that Bones has proven they know how to correctly pace the show in a way that's fast but doesn't sacrifice the content itself. So I guess what I'm getting at is, for now it's all just kind of a wait and see game, and it's all just kind of a wait and see game in order to see how they're going to end this off. If they end up doing the Pro Hero arc, I'm not going to be against it, but yeah, I'm not going to be really against it, I suppose you could say, but I can see I can maybe see a little bit of difficulty. It depends on how, again, it depends on how this next arc is paced. Um, Getting into the episode itself, though, yeah, sorry, I've been on a bit of a tangent. We definitely get a little bit of exposition about how Toga disguising herself as Kami in itself has already exposed a lot of the weak points within Hero Society, and it honestly shows even more that All Might, while an excellent hero, was really just used as a means and as a means to an end in order to cover up the weaknesses of Hero Society. So, in a weird way, All Might losing his powers and retiring was kind of the best thing for this society, as him losing them losing the number one hero made them realize, okay, they need to grow stronger on their own now. Like it's with All Might Gone, it's forcing them to say, okay, we need to freaking develop our. We need to develop. We need our heroes to get stronger. We basically need everyone in order to. We need everyone, all hands on deck. So it basically opened their eyes pretty much to to the pretty much real problem within this society, I guess you could say. Um, and yeah, with that said, the majority of this episode was focused on like the pretty much people who basically failed to the students who failed to who basically failed the promotional license exam, the provisional license exam, and them going through a test. And yeah, basically the big test for this episode was for the students to essentially sway the hearts of children and get them to open up and up to trusting them as heroes, which is something that's so basic but so important for a hero to learn, especially Bakugo, because this lesson in itself is basically saying if you can't win the trust of children, then how can the adult public be expected to put their life in your hands? Like, it's really that simple. If a child can't trust you, what hope do you have of basically of serving the public as a whole? And it's not just Bakugo who needed to learn this lesson, but Todoroki too. I mean, it's obviously not helped by the fact that they've never been faced with this situation before, but it's a lesson they still needed to learn as it helps them separate what the real difference is between fighting villains and actually saving people. Like with Bakugo for sure, you can definitely see that he never really he basically always kind of equated fighting villains and saving people as kind of the same thing. But with him, he's facing the realization that yeah, they aren't necessarily the same thing, and it is exposing like an area and a weakness he needs to develop. He needs to develop on. Even going further than that, though, this is definitely a means of self-reflection for Bakugo, as it forced him to really confront how he was being raised early in his life, always being constantly praised for his quirk and never really given the proper guidance until UA. And now that he's being confronted with that exact same situation, in the form of these kids being unruly and basically not having any like proper guidance, it's really forced him to not only look at how he can guide these kids so they can guide these kids so they don't become like him, but also just by interacting with that one kid, it's forcing him to ask himself, how can I change? So yeah, it's great development on that too. Todoroki as well went through self-reflection, but for him it was more, how can I even relate to these kids when none of them so far as he knew had the life he did? Like Todoroki has lived a life that's completely different from anyone else, even Bakugo. So how can he be expected in order to teach these kids properly? So it's definitely a lesson. It's definitely something he has to learn of what he needs to do. Of course, the other thing to talk about with this episode is Endeavor and All Might's conversation with each other about the meaning behind the symbol of peace, which not only has All Might basically saying that Endeavor has to carve out his own path to being the next one to carry the torch, but when you really look at the conversation between All Might and Endeavor in this episode, you can really see that there is a lot of self-acceptance on All Might's part, where you see him coming to terms with the fact that he's always been portrayed as the better one compared to Endeavor. He's always been portrayed throughout the series as someone who's basically Endeavor's better, or someone who just from his ideals who has the better ideals than Endeavor. But at the same time, this really exposes that he's just as guilty as Endeavor, in the sense where he became so consumed with his ambition of being this undaunting symbol for society in order to rally behind and feel safe with, that he failed to really accept the hand of anyone legitimately trying to help him. Like he never really never really he never really learned that, yeah, sometimes even the symbol of peace needs a little help. But basically now that he doesn't have any powers anymore, he's starting to learn that. And now getting back to Endeavor, you can see this is you can see with his conversation with All Might, this is him basically taking the first real step towards changing as a hero and as a person. And the thing is, in terms of his development as a person, when his development initially really started to shape, people were furious to the point where they sent death threats to Horikoshi. I'm not even kidding with you guys. That's a real thing. That they were so furious that Horikoshi was trying to develop Endeavor more that they kind of grew a little furious at the way he started out in developing him. But and I don't know if there are going to be any people who have that same mindset now. But if for anyone who is going to have that same mindset of of Endeavor's initial development of being just furious with the way it was handled, the one thing I want you to all keep in mind, going forward, is that Horikoshi did know what he was doing. He had a plan, and he resolved it in honestly the most realistic way possible. That's my message to anyone going forward. Like, honestly, like Endeavor's development in the grand scheme of where it is in the manga is kind of incredible. So just keep that in mind. It might be a little rocky at first, but it gets better. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Enemy, signing off. Later, guys.